Good morning. Welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Network. Thanks for joining us. We have a pretty packed agenda today to go through the latest updates around the BEAD program, where we stand there, and also have some very interesting updates for you as it relates to digital opportunity so the procurement releases that should be coming shortly from our team around digital devices and digital skills training statewide that needs to happen, and some announcements, if you haven't seen it, around some entities within Arkansas that have been recommended for award through the competitive grant program at the federal level. So we'll talk through all that today. We have a packed agenda, and so let's get into it. As always, updates, and then we'll open up for discussion and Q&A towards the end. So as we go through this call today, please input any questions you may have into the chat box, and we'll go to those when we hit the discussion Q&A portion of the presentation, or we can discuss it and go off mute as well, whatever you prefer, but we'll get there towards the end. So leading off today with the update around the BEAD program and the timeline that we're looking at, we are in the midst of round one. It is open. It opened on Tuesday, January 7th, and it lasts through this coming Tuesday at 6 p.m. So we're in the midst of round one. We had 48 ISPs and partnerships pre-qualify to participate in Arkansas's BEAD program, which is a great number. Everyone should be really excited about that number, what that means for competition in our state in the BEAD program. So good job there on behalf of our ISPs and investors, finding Arkansas's program to be highly competitive, free market based, and an opportunity for both providers and investors. We're in the midst of round one. The ISPs are getting their applications into us for all 84,000 locations across the entire state as we speak. Again, it closes Tuesday next week at 6 p.m., at which time our team will go back. We have a minimum of 3 weeks. We will go and score and evaluate all the applications that came in, and then start round two at the earliest February 13th. So there's going to be a minimum of a 3-week time lapse between the ending of round one and the opening of round two. You can see on the screen here sort of the timeline as we move forward over the next several months. All right, with that, we'll go to quickly updates from our partners. I think Philip is with us from NTIA this morning. Philip, good morning. Updates from NTIA.
Morning, thanks, Glenn. I have the pleasure of getting to do this from Glenn's office here in Little Rock. But yes, I've gotten great feedback from NTIA leadership in DC. They're very impressed with Arkansas's process in the BEAD program, especially in the sub-grantee selection process, the transparency, the efficiency of the program. So I want to let everybody know the work Glenn and his team is doing is definitely being recognized back in DC, and everything is on track. So I'm excited about this. And that's all I have for y'all this morning. Thanks, Glenn.
Yeah, thanks, Philip, for that. And look, I want to reiterate for everyone on the call, this is truly a team effort. We have a great team here at the Arkansas State Broadband Office. I think we have one of the best offices. We have one of the best support teams as well. When you look at the folks that have been brought in to kind of assist us in this process, and the early indicators, at least as I said, from the pre-registration number of 48 is fantastic. That's beaten a lot of states in the numbers that they're seeing. There are a couple of other states that are struggling to get really any participation in their programs from what I've heard. And so again, we should be really excited about how our program is shaping up, and thank you for that, Philip. At this time, we'll turn over to Cam this morning to have updates from our Digital Opportunity Manager on our team to go through a few interesting and exciting updates for us. Cam, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Glenn. Good morning, everyone. We had some exciting updates happen over the course of our break time, our vacation time. If you guys remember, I think the application period was open until late July. We were advocating that interested parties pursue applications with the Digital Equity Competitive Grant Program. And within the state of Arkansas, we got 3 entities that were recommended for an award. You got UMS, the statewide telehealth initiative, Lead for America, American Connection Corps, or the organization that facilitated the service years of our amazing service members, Lane. I'm sorry, not Lane. Noah and India, and also we have NDIA, Digital Inclusion Alliance, received an award with 2 partnerships with Arkansas-based organizations, and they're going to serve a multitude of counties throughout our state. That's great news. Millions of dollars flowing for digital opportunity within the state. So it's a great opportunity for us to connect and collaborate on those initiatives going forward as those awards get finalized. Additionally, I wanted to flag for everyone's attention or for interested parties, there's going to be some interesting events coming out this year, especially none bigger than net inclusion within the digital opportunity ecosystem, national ecosystem. You'll have a convening of practitioners from all states serving nearly all of our 8 covered populations on a show of best practices. I recommend everyone check it out. If you guys can attend, I would love some more Arkansans out on the road with us in Arizona. You skip to the next one. So we got a couple of updates around our county committees. Thank you to everyone who has already submitted their contact sheet. Their contact information for their county committee leaders. Thank you. Nearly 40 states represented, or over 40 states represented so far. Got a few more to go, but great response on that. We'll look to finalize that and get those last few. Reach out to those last few people that we know of, and we'll look to get that post on the website shortly. Next, I think I want to call her Professor Brown from Southern University. She mentioned on one of our I think on the call that we introduced the contact information survey, that maybe it would be a good idea to have a roster survey go out to our county committee leaders. So we have that on deck, and we'll send that out with the show notes. And so be on the lookout for that. And of course, we'll follow up and answer any questions you may have regarding that. But with this one, we want to know primary interests within the ecosystem. Are you just interested in infrastructure development? Are you interested more so in digital opportunity work? Do you like the data work that comes along with it? We just want to know where you guys land within the spectrum of work. And before I pass it to Lane, I wanted to give you guys some resources that guide our work. That interested parties that are interested in participating within any of the digital equity capacity programs that we're going to administer, you guys should definitely take a look at these resources on the page. The NOFO for the program, the Digital Equity Act of 2021, and our digital skills and opportunity plan. These 3 reads are essential for you as a potential implementation organization to learn what needs to be done, adhered to satisfy the requirements of this program. So without further ado, I want to pass it to our Deputy Director, Mr. Lane Bailey, as he goes over our biggest opportunities within the Digital Equity Capacity Program.
Yeah, good morning. I appreciate that, Cam. I'm going to go over real quickly the top 2 RFPs that are currently in process that we're going to be issuing soon as part of the Digital Equity or Digital Skills and Opportunity Capacity Plan. So the first opportunity is the big one, the Digital Skills and Safety Training RFP. The value of this contract is going to be somewhere just north of $5 million. We are seeking a single contractor to deliver digital skills and safety training to the approximately 300,000 working age Arkansans who lack these skills. Now, when we say a single contractor, that means the state only intends to sign a contract with a single entity to cover the whole state. If you don't cover the whole state, what we would like to see is coalitions form, partnerships form. That is fine, but the state is only going to sign one contract. So we do anticipate seeing coalitions form, partnerships form as part of this process, but the state will only sign one contract to cover the whole state. The contract will be for an initial 2-year term, renewable for up to 2 more 1-year additional terms. It's going to be paid out on a time and materials payment schedule at a per student trained basis. All right. The scoring for the RFP will be 70% on the technical proposal, and 30% of the scoring will be based on cost. And I'll get into that in a little more detail in just a moment. So next slide, please. So expect the RFP to hit the street in about 6 to 7 weeks. I know that seems like a long time. This RFP has been written when I opened it up right around Christmas time when we got the approval from NTIA. The last edits I had done on it were in July of 24. So this thing's been written for a long time, but we couldn't act on it because we didn't have approval from NTIA. So why is it taking 6 to 7 weeks? Well, like I said, we couldn't act on it. And now the internal machinery of state government has started. And when you pass the $2 million threshold on an RFP, that machinery is pretty intense. So expect about 6 to 7 weeks for that thing to hit the street. And when I say hit the street, that means it's going to be posted the Arkansas State Procurement website. If you would like to be notified by our office when it gets posted on the Arkansas State Procurement website, we're happy to do that. Just drop us an email at broadband at arkansas.gov and tell us, hey, let us know when this RFP gets posted. Please tell us which RFP you want to be notified about, and we'll put you on a list to be notified when this RFP gets posted at procurement website, and we will do that. Because this is a big RFP and because it's somewhat complex, and we expect some people are going to be bidding for it who are not commonly bidding for state government work, we're going to leave that published for a month. We're going to give you a full month, which is about the longest I've ever left an RFP out open on the street. Give you plenty of time to read it, to work out your strategy, to come up with a great proposal. We're also going to, and don't always do this either, we're going to have a formal Q&A opportunity once it's posted. And what that is, after it's been posted for a week, you will have an opportunity to submit questions you have about the RFP. You'll have a designated email address to submit a question in writing. We will take all of those questions, strip the names off who asked them, and then post all of the answers to all of those questions on the state procurement website. So everybody will see every question that was asked, and we will provide answers. You won't see who asked them. So because again, it's complex and there's going to be a lot of folks bidding who probably have never bid for state work before, we're going to have that formal Q&A opportunity for this bidding opportunity. So next question, next slide, please. All right, some minimum vendor requirements I want to talk about. All right, we're looking for folks who've got the ability to engage and build trust with these diverse communities. All right, these 300,000 or so folks, working age folks who don't already have digital skills, you're going to have to find them, and you're going to have to build trust with them to get them in the classroom or to get them online to take these courses. All right, you're going to have to keep good records, and you're going to have strong data management capabilities. You're going to have to monitor and evaluate the program for constant improvement. All right, we're not just going to throw money at something and say we did it. We want to see results. All right, training is going to have to be delivered both online and in person in all 75 counties and in multiple languages as appropriate. All right, we're gonna want to see what you propose there, and we want to see innovative and creative approaches to problem solving and participant engagement. All right, you noticed a couple slides ago where we said the technical proposal is going to be worth 70% of the scoring and the cost is 30%. If we were just looking for anybody to just pick a curriculum and throw it out there and make it available, we could easily do that and just make this a regular bid and the lowest bidder wins. All right, but we don't think Arkansas taxpayers would get the best deal for that because, like I said, the populations we're trying to reach here are going to be hard to reach. Our office can't do this. All right. We've got to find a partner who's got some creative ideas, who are going to go out, find these communities, create that trust, reach them where they are, convince them of the value of this training, and get them in these seats. And to get them to stay in these seats until this training is done. All right. So we're looking for innovative proposals. All right. So that's why we're, structuring it the way we are. All right. So moving on to opportunity 2, the device distribution program.
Sir, before you leave
let's save questions till the end, please.
I don't have
we'll
a
get
question.
right to
I got a statement on that previous slide.
Let's see. Yeah, Judge.
Proven ability to engage and build trust with a diverse community. I believe that this form that I've become very familiar with over the past several weeks is multiple providers have submitted for a letter of support that I need to check a box or yes or no, that I certify that applicants provided all requested necessary details on the broadband deployment project for which they were requesting support, and that the community supports this project. I can speak to the ability to engage and build trust with diverse communities or communities that may not be diverse as it relates to those that ask these questions. What I cannot do is answer that question. What I cannot do is the 70% of the technical, 30% of the cost. It pained me to call everybody because I asked the questions and then I was made familiar with this. And the questions I asked rubbed up against the collusion provision. And I will say that all of those brought that to my attention. I wish it would have been brought to my attention prior to that, or I wouldn't ask the questions. So my statement is, in going forward, and Mr. Howie, I know that I've communicated this to you, and I'm not trying to be adversarial here, but if you're going to use a county judge whose technical and cost savviness when it comes to deployment of broadband is very small, but good citizenship within the area that I have jurisdiction is certainly greater, that we potentially consider including those type things when you're asking letters for support and guidance for our local elected officials. With that, I'll leave, take it for what it's worth. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask me. I don't want to hold up your presentation. I've got another meeting I need to go to. Thank you all for your work.
All right, thank you, Judge. All right, Lane.
All right, moving on to the second opportunity. Let's see, where was that slide? Okay, device distribution program. This The value of this contract is going to be just north of $1 million. We're looking for a single contractor to develop and execute device delivery and support program that is going to coincide with the contract I just talked about. Students who complete digital skills and safety training, we're going to coordinate with this contract to deliver devices to them. Again, a 2-year initial contract, renewable for up to 2 one-year terms. It's going to be a not to exceed contract, paid at a per device delivered. Scoring proposal, we're looking at a technical proposal be worth 50% and total cost be worth 50%. Okay, next slide. Expect the RFP to hit the street about 45 weeks. This is below that $2 million threshold, so it takes a little bit less time. Again, be posted at the Arkansas State Procurement website. Again, you can email us if you would like to be notified when this bid hits the street. Please, again, mention in the email which RFP you would like to be notified about. And same thing. We're going to leave this one out there for a month as well. And we're also going to have a formal Q&A opportunity while this RFP is out on the street. Okay, next slide. Minimum vendor requirements. Proven ability to procure devices and distribute them at scale. Experience working with diverse and underserved communities. If you're curious about when we talk about diverse communities, you can look up the 8 categories of covered populations in the NOFO. Strong record keeping, data management capabilities, ability to coordinate effectively with other program contractors and stakeholders. Here's an area where State Broadband Office doesn't mess around. A lot of experience dealing with lots of vendors. All right. The Arkansas State Broadband Office insists that our vendors work together very well. If Michael Baker's on here, Julie, you can attest to that, can't you? Innovative and creative approach program implementation. Again, if we wanted to just take the lowest cost and throw a bunch of devices out there to people, that's what we do, and we just do this by lowest cost. We are not going to do that. We want heavy support. We want somebody who can match the right device to the right person in the right use case. All right, so you're going to have to be creative. Again, there's going to have to be a level of trust. We're going to have to reach the right population in the right kind of way. All right, so sorry if I went on too long. But with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Glenn, to lead us in our Q&A.
Yeah, thanks, Lane. Appreciate that, and great job running through the 2 heaviest opportunities that we're going to put out shortly. So thank you for running through those for us. Before we hit, we'll go through the chat box first and see if there's anything there interesting to talk about, and then please feel free to come off of mute should you so choose, and we can discuss it that way. I do want to say that these are going to be tied together to sort of reiterate that point. As Cam has done well describing this before to a lot of folks, this is a learn and earn model, okay? So in order for an individual to qualify for the device, all right, they have to first successfully complete the digital skills training, all right? So an individual has to go through digital skills training first, get the little certification that they have successfully completed that, then that would allow that individual to then qualify for the device side of what we're doing. So a learn and earn model. So as you can see, there's going to be a lot of working together through those processes. So with that, we'll go through the chat real quick to see what we have. A lot of AI note takers, always exciting to see that. Although, read them carefully, folks. They don't always get it right, I promise. Okay, so someone had noted that they received a bounce back, but it looks like there was a little transposition there of the letters. And so the email address for us, broadband@arkansas.gov, is the correct email to reach our team. Also, a question here, is it possible to have access to these slides? Yes, Elizabeth. So what we do is following these calls, both the every Friday call that we have with our ISPs and these biweekly AVLN calls, we follow these up with an email communication that includes not only notes from the call today, but a PDF copy of the slides as well. So you'll have access to that. And Cam followed up with that exact response, which is great. Let's see, Abby asked, will the RFPs be out at the same time or staggered? Lan, you can hit on this. What is the requirement that the vendor winner for Opportunity 2 is synced up ideally with contractors and Opportunity 1 as they both go hand in hand?
Yeah, Abby, they are going to be staggered a little bit by a couple of weeks. Just we need that couple of weeks ourselves because we're a small team, so that they're not they're not released the same day, they're not due on the same day, they're not scored on the same day. So yeah, a couple of week staggered. The both RFPs will have language in them requiring vendors to acknowledge that they're going to work together. I hope that answers your question. There will be a lot of coordination between these two vendors.
All right, thanks, Lane. And Elizabeth just making a note that she had not been receiving notes prior, so we'll make sure, Elizabeth, that you are included on the note distribution. If you want to key in your email address for us, we can make sure that you're on the distribution list, Elizabeth, so thank you for doing that. Abby, let's see, she missed the start. It's, I was going to make a joke about being unacceptable to miss the early portions of our AVLN calls, but it's okay, we're human. How many awards will there be for Opportunity Number 1, max amount of award, Lane?
Hey, Abby, we're awarding one contract. So we had to cover all 75 counties. So we're looking for folks to develop partnerships or coalitions so that group can, states can award one contract. Mm-hmm. So, but all 75 counties have to be covered.
Yeah, so ideally, and Lane, correct me if I'm wrong, right, but what we've mapped out so far with this is that there would be at least one physical location in every county offering digital skills training, but also have an online component available for folks.
That's correct, Glenn.
All right, let's see. Hunter said, okay, can we put the slide back up that talked about the 3 sort of references? Yeah, Hunter, this was in Cam's portion of the call. What he set out here really was, as you're waiting for the RFPs to hit the street, you can review some of this information, right? So what we have here, we have the Notice of Funding Opportunity, or NOFO, that covers capacity grant programs. That's available for you to link there. Also, the statute itself that would cover the DE capacity grant program is linked for you, and ultimately the current version of our Arkansas Digital Skills and Opportunity Plan that talks about digital skills program that we want to launch, and also the device program that we want to launch. Should note here that there still may be some refinement and tweaks to all of the language within the Digital Skills and Opportunity Plan. If that takes place, we'll let everybody know, I promise. We did receive, all the states really received a little less funding than they originally anticipated, right? So we may have to tweak a couple of things, more likely probably around some of the other ancillary programs, perhaps, that we have looked at. But we don't anticipate much change, if at all, to both digital devices and the digital skills, and that's why those are going to hit the street first as far as proposal options. Let's see, covered that. Bob, thoughts on types of devices? Yeah, these are going to be large screen devices, Bob. That's what we would like to see, right? Whether it's large screen tablets or potentially large screen laptops, right? We would like to do large screen devices for folks through the learn and earn model. How do you envision local county broadband committees working with the successful awardees of Opportunities 1 and 2? What might our role be? Look, we will need we would envision and recommend highly that this is a great opportunity for our county broadband committees uh, to get their hands dirty, right, at the ground level, at the grassroots level. Um, we would highly recommend that the county committees are involved in helping to recruit folks and get the word out. And because remember, the target for this, there's 8 or so covered populations that are required to. We have to do our best to impact folks in certain groups, rural folks, individuals over the age of 65, veterans, so forth. But really, you look at those covered populations that we have to target. 87.4% of Arkansas's population, right? So nearly everyone, almost. And so to further refine that, we've looked at the traditional working age bracket of 18 to 64 in Arkansas, and through some of the statistical work that our team has done, and a lot of you have heard this as we've traveled the state the last couple of years, we would estimate, our office would, that about 300,000, as was mentioned in the slide deck, about 300,000 with the latest census update, 300,000 Arkansans in that traditional working age bracket of 18 to 64 lack basic digital skills, okay? And we've used this illustrator. It's not coding, creating websites. We're saying take the mouse, go to Google, apply for a job. So basic digital skills. And when we think about economic development, we really want to target that traditional working age bracket. And so how, in short, right, your answer, we're going to need help on the ground, getting the word out in your communities that these programs exist and are available, especially in that traditional working age bracket. And so we would definitely recommend a role for the committees at the ground level, getting hands dirty and helping to spread the word, right, and getting engagement in your county for this. Since we started, we've always said it's a 3-pillar problem. Broadband is access, affordability, and we used to say digital skills. We've reframed it to opportunity, but this is that 3rd pillar, and we're going to need all hands on deck to make this a success in Arkansas. Let's see, Abby, apologies. Yeah, look, you gotta brew the coffee at about 9:45 and get ready to go for 10. Let's go, folks. Let's get here on time. Elizabeth put her email in the chat, and then so Caroline said, "Do you expect any more RFPs to come out in relation to connectivity, to end user, like a downtown Wi-Fi or affordable housing developments?" Yeah, Caroline. Look, that's there are suggested, interventions and programs around those topics within the current digital skills and opportunity plan. I think, if we can find a way to continue to think we can make those work through the funding that we have, we will pursue those, and we're actively working through the process of pursuing them now. But we still need to do a little more talking as a team and seeing if we think we can effectively do it. What we do not want to do is roll out a program that we may not be able to A, fund properly, and B, execute the right way. And so if we can't do that, we won't do that. If we think we can, we will. And if we think we can't, we won't. So we're going to do things the right way and execute things the right way and make sure we have the most impact that we can. Hunter's.
I can take Hunter's question.
Yeah, go ahead, Lane.
On the importance of evaluation and tracking, will the specifics regarding the curriculum or the RFP components? Hunter, I don't expect the provider to be knowledgeable in the type of research that they will be responsible for evaluating and tracking components specific to the RFP. I would like nothing more than to have a PhD in sociology or economics, particularly, to track this program. But we're not going to write that into this RFP. All right, Glenn just mentioned some possible other opportunities. That is something we're talking about, but for this RFP, they'll be tracking the specifics of the requirements of this RFP.
Thank you, Lane. And let's see, so we have emails in from Elizabeth and also Jeff wants to receive updates, so our team will track those. And Hal, sounds like I gave a long-winded answer, but it made sense for you, so that's good. Hopefully everyone else. Um, I still work every day. I'm trying to be more concise in my responses. Um, all right, let's give it here. And look, we can ask questions. Let's ask questions about anything, right? It's if it's RFP related to the two opportunities that were presented today. It could be a BEAD question on the infrastructure side. Okay, so everything is open for questions today. I don't want you to think you have to be focused on any one specific topic. It's an open floor Q&A. How much funding is set aside for the purchase of devices statewide? Lane, what's the number that we have around the device RFP? You said it earlier. I think it's like under.
It's just I'm afraid to say the wrong thing, so I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
I could take it.
It is 1.125. So 1.125 million.
Yeah, 1.125. And look, you would hope there's some leverage around, uh, bulk orders. Let's hope there's some leverage there for bulk orders and discounts. Thanks, Bob. Let's see. Kristen, so and you said for Op 1, the budget was right around 5. That's correct, Lane?
That's correct. Just north of 1. I mean, sorry, just north of 5.
And then Tom, what is the timing outlook for BEAD non-deployment funds? Great question. So to set the table around BEAD non-deployment funds, a quick 30-second or less teaser for me on that is we have $1 billion on the broadband infrastructure side that we're going to get ready to, well, we're in round 1 right now. It may not take all $1 billion, and so if we award grants for the whole state to build out the remaining broadband infrastructure that's needed, and it's less than $1 billion, we can still use that money in what's called non-deployment. So we can use the infrastructure money for non-infrastructure things. If we make all our grant awards and still have money left over, that's what we call non-deployment. Timeline for that, Tom, we are actually kicking off conversation. So this week, actually, Lane and I presented to Secretary McDonald and Allison, who's our chief of staff, around a proposed structure for how we're going to operate and work through the options in non-deployment. And we hope to present that to the governor's team in the next couple of weeks as well and get everything kicked off. Essentially, the state is going to have to think through those priorities and options for non-deployment at the same time that we're working through the infrastructure side. And so the state will kick off a structure around how to decide priorities for potential non-deployment funding. Again, it's not guaranteed, but we would expect to have some non-deployment funding available. You can see the state begin to work on that process within the next couple of weeks, likely, and then it will extend for several months, probably into the middle of the year. And so, but as that begins to roll out, we will be sure to update everyone. We pride ourselves in being transparent in this office, and so as things happen, and we're allowed and available to say things, we will, I promise you. So everyone will be updated as we continue to roll out non-deployment stuff. Let's see. But short answer, we're starting to kick that off very shortly. Let's see. House, I thought the 125 million was for distribution and training and includes the actual devices. So Hal, yeah, you're gonna have 2 separate RFPs, right? One for digital skills training, a separate one for the devices, 2 different dollar amounts. Lane, you want to follow up there?
Yeah, the 1.25 or 1.125 million is for device distribution and device training. And then the 5 million is for digital skills training.
Okay.
But the 1.2125 includes distribution and the device itself.
Okay. And Hal, if that's not clear enough, please feel free to come off of mute and
Yeah,
we can discuss it. See Jeff, who's eligible to apply. Yeah, so that'll be part of what we would put out within the RFP. It would list probably who's eligible to organizations and entities eligible to apply. That'll be part of what we put out in the RFP. There is some guidance from NTIA around that as well, and so we'll work to get that out to everyone. Because there are, at least, look, as of today, there are some restrictions about who would be eligible to apply for this funding, and so we'll get that out, but also include it within the RFP itself. Let's see, Hunter, let's see, Cedar Bluff Lane regarding amendment to question about curriculum, I guess. One piece of an RFP. Hunter, do you want to come off mute real quick and expand on that?
Common curriculum piece.
Hunter, I don't know if you're on mute.
Hey, I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hey, friends. Good morning. So my specific question, I appreciate your response, Lane. My specific question was, is there a piece around common curricula across the state rather than the specifics of a PhD and evaluate that piece? I get that, but I was talking more about, is there a common curricula? You emphasized certainly assessment and evaluation, but specific to curriculum. My guess is that's going to be in the RFP. We need to stay tuned for that piece.
Okay.
As to the specifics. That was what that question was about. Does that make sense?
Good question. Yes, I completely misunderstood your question then. I'm sorry. We are going to look, we want you to propose the curriculum.
Okay.
And we will give some very broad guidelines in the RFP, but we want you to propose the curriculum. The curriculum can be something that the bidder designs, or it could be something off the shelf.
Outstanding.
Either way.
No, that's great. That was my question.
That'll be part of the evaluation.
Yep, is how that's tied into the evaluation. And again, not getting ahead of the RFP, but just asking that piece, since that was in the original, plan for BEAD. So thank you for clarifying that, Lane. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter, and thank you, Lane. Let's see, Tristan. So I believe you mentioned this, but want to confirm. Will someone submitting a bid for Opportunity 1 need to name a device partner since it is learn and earn? I assume working with a partner that is bidding on Opportunity 2 makes sense for that model. Tristan, Lane, correct me if I'm wrong. Someone who's bidding, these are two separate procurements, right? So, you will not name a device partner if you are responding to the first procurement, because they're two separate procurements, but you will have to work together.
That is correct, Lan. You would not name a partner.
Right. Okay.
We will select that partner.
Let's see, how, okay, thanks. Job, Jeff, can one entity apply for both? Yeah, there's no, you can't, as far as I'm aware, we'll double check this. I don't know offhand that there's a restriction about applying for both, but we'll make note of that question and we'll confirm either way. So thanks for raising that point, Jeff. Okay. Anticipated awards, summer, fall. Yeah, Mark, look, we have 9 months. As the current landscape sits, we have 9 months to select vendors for these activities. And so if we can do them in advance of 9 months, we will, but we have a deadline of 9 months to get that back to NTIA. So as it sits now, 9 months or sooner from that. So we should talk about RFPs every ABLN. We get so many more attendees when we talk about RFPs. It's funny how that works. So, I kid. Let's see, Abby, so in Opportunity 1 made the contractor offer subcontracts. Right?
Absolutely. The reason the state prefers one contract is because every contract obviously carries with it administrative overhead. If we were to, so let's say, break the state into 4 different regions and award 4 different contracts, that's 4 contracts. The state has to manage that waters down the funds from the state's perspective. We're managing, 4 or 6 different regions, 4 or 6 different contracts. We think by awarding one contract that our office only has to manage the one, we spread these tax dollars further and train more Arkansans. So that is the reasoning behind that. I know we have gotten some pushback when we've gone out and discussed this with folks, but that's the reasoning, is to stretch every one of these precious dollars and to train as many Arkansans as possible, to try to keep the administrative overhead as low as possible. So if you can form coalitions, if you can form partnerships, we think that's the best approach.
Absolutely, Lane. While we wait for additional questions or potential questions, I did want to make a note. I think it's important to note this here around the timeline. Back, sort of switching topics real quick to the infrastructure side and awarding grants to the ISPs to get it built out. There will not, like when round 1 closes on Tuesday, and we take those 3 weeks to then go and score those applications we got in round 1, there will not be a sort of round 1 announcement of all the winners in round 1. Okay, that's not how this one works. We're going to do round 1 internally, have some communication, and then go to a round 2. Although it says round 1 and round 2, they're really interconnected. Okay, so it's a little nuanced, it's a little complicated, but I want folks to know that we will not have sort of multiple pronouncements at different times about winners on the infrastructure grant side. We're going to run the whole process, round 1, round 2, go through negotiations for the remaining locations. Once we have an award package for the entire state that we have to submit to NTIA, that's when the public would hear about the grant awards on the infrastructure side. I just want to make sure people weren't expecting an announcement from us in a couple of weeks on the ISP side of things. But all right, let's give it just a little bit longer, just to see if we have anything else. Again, everyone should receive a communication email from us after this call with notes and the PowerPoint slides. All of the web links that are in the PowerPoint will work for you in the PDF version, so that's attached for you as well. Appreciate that, Abby. Okay, as we wrap here and give it just a little bit longer in case anyone's typing out a really long question, if you have any questions on this, please email us at the broadband@arkansas.gov email address. Okay. Got one. Hey, Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Glenn, real quick. This does not relate to the RFPs, but I was just curious, the counties that have active broadband committees, is there a listing of those somewhere? Does that live somewhere?
Yeah, so that great question. When we went through the state, wow, spring of 23 at this point, we had 54, I think, counties turn in committee lists to us. We're working to get that information onto our website. Cam had mentioned that we did some survey work. We originally kind of canvassed to sort of get an updated list of the leaders of the county broadband committees. We're working to put that out on the website first, and then we'll kind of follow that up with kind of counties that have active committees. Yeah, we're working to put that out. In short, it's not out yet, but we will have that on our website probably in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thanks. And if I had a question about just a couple specific counties, is that a good email for for you
Yeah.
or Cam or who's a
Yeah,
good?
look,
point of
yes,
contact?
the catch-all is broadband.arkansas.gov. Use that for anything, any questions you may have. Yes.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. Thanks very much. And good job on the transparency. I know you mentioned that a minute ago, but from just watching process in a couple states, I think y'all are doing great. You're communicating well, and it's a good example for many places. Well done.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Okay, with that, we'll let everybody go. And again, look for the follow-up communication from us. We will see you in 2 weeks. And everyone, be safe. Thank you.